Chinese factory is single-handedly killing luxury brands. It is the straw that broke the camel's back.
China's exposed the luxury market. I can't believe it. China this, China that. Excuse me. Common sense coming through. What exactly did they expose?
Same leather, hardware, suppliers, and boutiques. Same craftsman.
More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
Honey, we have gone through this luxury goods made in China rabbit hole and we can't get out. So this is part 2, okay? Because I found it so fascinating and you guys seem to like the last video. So it's not just shocking that they're exposing, but they're telling us the brands and the manufacturers.
Forget Alibaba. Check out this websites to boost your business in 2025. Looking for furniture? Go to fabgoods.com. Looking for shoes? Go to shebuto.com. Looking for cheap lady bags? Go to bao66.com. Looking for small goods? Check chinagoods.com. Stay tuned. I will share more sourcing information from China.
Now, I know there are a lot of people that were saying, oh my God, this is not new. We've been knowing that China makes luxury goods or that they make, replicas and dupes and all of that. Yes, we know that, but it was all rather vague. We did not know specifically what brands use what warehouses or what manufacturers. We didn't have names and addresses, which are apparently being exposed, at least on TikTok, right? And when was the last time a warehouse or a manufacturer that makes wholesale invited you, specifically the regular person, to come shop with them?
Come with me to check out China's biggest luxury wholesaler. Thanks to President Trump's recent tariffs, Chinese manufacturers for luxury brands like Hermes, Chanel, LV, etc. are coming out of the woods and offering direct sale to us peasants and the US at a pinch of the price. When you walk in, they hand you gloves because the goods you're about to handle are still the same top quality. I've never seen so many Hermes bags lined up in front of me, let alone try every size and color on like I'm in Walmart. Best part is there's no sale assistant stalking you, no upsells, and you're only paying 20% of the price. These only range from $250 to $500. That's a steal. Manufacturers are exposing luxury brands for what the bags actually cost. Now that Donnie's pissed off the peasants, all hell's broken loose.
And then on top of it all, this is definitely new. China is now offering visa-free travel for shopping? Really? To be a personal shopper?
Girl, China said them tariffs. They are offering 13% cash back on any purchases from American citizens. And not only that, they're going to give you 280 hours of visa-free entry into China to go shopping. No paperwork, nothing to do, no visa needed. You can just go to China and buy whatever it is you want. They said if America wants to try to keep American citizens from buying foreign goods, good luck. Because not only can you come here and buy the same shirt that you would buy in America for $40 and buy it there for $21, they also took away all prosecutions from fake brands. So they used to prosecute retailers who were making knockoff brands. They said, not anymore, honey. You can come buy all you want. They're not prosecuting any of their citizens for making knockoff brands like Nike, Versace, Gucci, none of that shit. And now they're going to give you 280 hours travel free to come on over there and buy whatever it is you want with a 13% instant cash rebate.
Now, before I get my ticket to China to become a personal shopper because I need a new occupation, as someone who likes to be pampered and enjoys the finer things every now and then, but still lives within her means. I mean, I am not rich, but I like rich things, okay? I want to know, are these luxury bags really made in China?
Do luxury brands make their products in China?
They take almost finished bags from China factories, just do the repackaging and logo installing.
These videos are being shared on TikTok with claims about European designer goods. But is what they're saying true? For something to be labelled made in Europe, it has to go through its last substantial transformation there. That means simply adding a logo or packaging a product in Europe doesn't count, according to experts, even though some production may happen in places like China. Many luxury brands don't share much information about their manufacturing outside Europe. Louis Vuitton's website, for example, says its leather goods are exclusively produced in our workshops in Europe and the US. And Gucci says 95% of their manufacturers are based in Italy.
Quite a lot of what other brands claim, that 95% of their facilities are in Italy. That is only true indeed for the very last stage of production.
Meanwhile, Lululemon told BBC Verify about 3% of its goods are made in China, but so they don't work with the manufacturers identified in the videos spreading online. Some Chinese companies claim to make products for big name brands, but while they may look similar, the quality often isn't the same.
I'm sure you've seen this guy, right? This is the guy that cuts up all the luxury bags and analyzes the materials and lets us know how the bags are made and the finishes and whether the quality matches the prices that we're paying. Well, I think I trust him to give us his opinion on these so-called luxury bags from China.
So I watched the main video where the guy breaks down the cost of a Birkin.
So now to sum those up, the total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory.
For a $38,000 Birkin. And this might surprise you, but his cost estimate is too high. And there are other inaccuracies in his original video. So let's break down that video and point out the accurate and inaccurate information in his video. He starts with listing the materials and the costs of it. And he shows a leather that says Togo. But the leather there, this leather, is not Togo. The second thing he says is true. The material supply chain, everything is available in China. Yes, that is true. A lot of Chinese buyers drop $500,000 on one leather shipment in European tanneries to buy real Togo to make counterfeit bags. That's true, leather is available, but most of the counterfeits in China doesn't use that real leather. And you know, those tanneries can't even make that much anyways. Then he says
one piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD.
That's not true. The Togo from Weinheimer today costs about $330. On average 22 square foot at 13 euros a foot. You do the math. He says another true thing about the stainless steel, the ocean steel hardware.
The hardware. See, for one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD.
Yes, that's the top grade hardware and it's available in China. That's also true. But it doesn't cost $150. That's also padded. But then he adds up all these costs saying that the total is $1,450. That sounds a bit steep to me because I was in Guangzhou last month. I've seen these top level fake Birkins that is way better than the one he's showing in the video. And they were selling at $500, made with real Togo and stainless steel. So I'm assuming his exaggeration is to sell his fakes or dupes at a 3x multiplier, leveraging a trend now. And that's kind of where the problem starts, because if you're gonna expose anything, if there's anything to expose, you better be accurate. And there's so many inaccuracies in this video that kind of makes me not to think much of this content. He also has a very accurate point where he says China has the skills and talent as well as the materials. That's absolutely true. But the problem is most of that talent is going to make fakes or dupes of these known brands. In my opinion, why not China is producing their own designs, own brands, using these beautiful hardware, beautiful material they have, with incredible skill they have, all I know and believe, and sell that bag for $500, which is very profitable in their cost structures. Believe me, I know. But the problem is why your option should be a dupe of a classic iconic bag from a European brand. Why not these individuals make their own creations and offer that quality at a very affordable price point under their own brand name? That's the real challenge I invite all Chinese people to take on in this trade war. I think that's the real meaning. I'm not here to judge anybody making fake bags, anybody buying or using fake bags, but here's what I think. Here's my understanding of the concept. And I think it should start with increasing the moral looseness that China has on some of these matters, because if you're gonna make a video that's gonna go viral and impact the world, it better be accurate, otherwise you're gonna lose your credibility.
So what's your opinion about what he said, that the Chinese should focus on making, their own designs and stop basically trying to copy European designs? However, this doesn't address the fact that for so long people have felt things made in China were inferior, and so they were not willing to spend a lot of money for something made in China. Things might be changing. So anyway, let's hear from Miss Patricia Bright, who I'm sure you know.
So the bags are made in China. I don't know why I'm right now talking a lot about this, but I think we're not just talking about the bags being made in China. I truly think there is a discussion about people's association with their well-being and their value to their material goods, and finding out that luxury brands and products that are being sold to you for thousands and thousands only cost hundreds to make is something that people are uncomfortable with. And the fact that we are going through a time where people are struggling, I think that people are like, no, you're not going to play in my face, and I'm going to want to know who the manufacturer is. I'm going to tell you now, I don't know if I entirely believe that those manufacturers are telling the utter truth. I do believe amazing things are made in China. I do believe they make designer items in China. And I do know that they do the finishing in Europe. So here's my take on it. We knew that things were being made in China, and I don't know why you didn't. And we knew that paying for the label, right? Paying for the label was not because you thought it was manufactured much better than anything else. Don't lie. You are buying the label of cotton and sometimes polyester just because of the brand association. It wasn't because you thought it was being made by artisans, because if you wanted artisanal products, you'd have gone there. People buy designer brands because of what it makes them look like to other people. Sometimes it's the material. This is Jean Paul Gaultier, and I love that kind of vintage file, and I love the softness of the material. But if I could get another t-shirt that wasn't Jean Paul Gaultier and it was just like this, I would not care. I don't really care. You can't even read that as Jean Paul Gaultier. I just like the vibe. However, that doesn't take away from the fact that people do not like the idea of a brand telling them that this is artisanal, made in the mountains of Mantua, Italy, to really find that it was made in Guangzhou. And I think it's starting to dispel the myth that designer and brand name is what gives things value. What truly gives things value is material. What truly gives things value is finishing. What truly gives value is whatever you want to give value. But the reality is that the names themselves do not matter. And the fact that you can see these manufacturers in China exposing that they make the items, or can basically make the exact same items with the exact same material, is really blowing people's minds. So what does that mean? I don't think it actually means anything, but the concept of being able to signal that you're better than others because you wear designer is over, because people now have access to these things. I think the reality is that people are going to want to move to things that are more unique, more exclusive, more artisanal, and it may not have anything to do with brands, but say exclusivity of a finish or exclusivity of a material. And people want quality, and they realize that just paying high prices for a label and it's still polyester, they're done with it.
I've seen a lot of fake designer bags in my time, and there's always something off about it, whether it's the stitching, it's just the gold hardware might be different. Look at the Louis Vuitton Alma BB bag, for example. With that bag, you've got so much fakes out of there. And one thing I've seen across all the fakes is that the stitching is off. The gold hardware, the gold on the zips is off. Where the Louis Vuitton placement is off. And even if you get past those checks, cool, the bags look the same. You know, I don't even know why people need to buy fake designer bag. Just buy regular bags that don't have any designers attached to them. You can literally buy a nice leather bag that has no designer brand on it. Do you know what I mean? Buying fake designer bags to me is absolutely ridiculous, but cool. I digress. We pass all those checks and the stitching looks the same and everything looks perfectly fine. But when you want to resell that bag, because I'm a businesswoman, yeah? When you want to resell that bag, what value does it have to resell? Tell me. Because I can resell my bags any single day, any day of the week, and I could get something out of them. But when you spend a £500 or £400 on an amazing fake, guess what? It's still fake. So you can't resell it. You can't do anything with it. So that money's gone.
I am so sick and tired of the internet being so completely delusional. So as an owner of both real and fake bags, I'm here to tell you that your bags are not real. I don't know where the lore of bags being real came from, and I know these warehouses are definitely not helping the whole story, but as someone who owns a lot of fakes, a lot of reals, I can tell you that there's a pretty stark difference between them. I used to purchase bags on DHgate when I was young, impressionable, wanted the feel of a luxury bag without having the money for a luxury bag. Now, is mostly filled with very basic level fake bags. However, here and there you may run into super fake, which is the bag that I'm holding right here. I believe super fake is the term that has been coined on the internet for any fake that is really, really close to a real, both in design and in materials. And I'm pretty sure most of the warehouses that are doing reveals on TikTok are super fake warehouses that previously wouldn't have a direct consumer relationship before. And I'm not gonna lie, a lot of these warehouses that are posting on TikTok are definitely playing with fire because raids are known to happen, and this really disrupts production and makes it a lot difficult to get these bags to consumers. Now, just comparing these two bags, the super fake is very, very close to the real one, but it doesn't make this real. You know what I mean? This warehouse and this warehouse are not the same thing. And I promise you the warehouses for real designer goods in no way would allow employees to expose them on the internet. For reference, I paid close to $5,000 for this bag and around $200 to $300 for this bag. And for anyone who thinks that $200 to $300 for a super fake is crazy, that kind of gives you an idea in comparison to fakes. Those bags are most often not real brass, not real gold plated, not real leather. I'm not going to lie, I know that designers take a huge profit off of consumers, that these bags don't cost nearly as much to make as they are sold for at retail. I also know that the quality of a lot of these designer bags have extremely gone downhill to the point where you're considering that your bag is really no better or no worse than the real version.
China's exposed the luxury market. I can't believe it. China this, China that. Excuse me. Common sense coming through. What exactly do they expose? That brands have to charge more than the cost of a product in order to make a profit? I'm sorry, is that scandalous or is that just basic business? Okay, so some random factories in China have come online and they're making all these claims against luxury brands. Now guys, unless you've seen official documentation, which you haven't, you have no clue whether these factories are actually contracted by these brands or if they're just very skilled at copying designs. And considering what we already know about the replica market in China, I would lean towards the latter being true. I can almost bet a lot of money that these guys are just literally one of 500 different factories that are just very good at replicating like designer bags. They do it all the time. And they're lying to you and say, no, we're the actual factories they use and we can give you the exact same thing. I really don't think so. I believe what you're getting is a replica. And that's fine if that's what you want, but at least know what you're getting yourself into. Especially before you start trying to shame or brag to the girls who can afford the real thing that I've got it too and you paid more than me and I got the exact same bag as you. You don't. I see a lot of people are actually really shocked to find out that luxury goods have a very high markup. But again, that's just basic business. Luxury brands charge what they charge because they can. When you're shopping luxury, you're not just paying for the materials. You're paying for flagship stores in the most expensive cities in the world, global campaigns, celebrity endorsements, amazing creative directors, top designers. And above all of that, what you're really paying for is what the brand represents. They're not selling you a product, they're selling you a lifestyle. The ability to belong to an exclusive elite club where you can silently signal your status and basically show everyone, look how well I'm doing. All of that comes at a premium that people are willing to pay. And those that can't afford to do so still desperately want what that brand represents, that they're going to still try and get themselves involved by going down the fake route. For example, guys, we all know if you go down to Tesco, you can buy a bottle of Moet for £40. However, if you now find yourself in a bougie London club, they're going to look you dead in the eyes and say, yeah, that's now 500. and people are going to pay it. Why? Because they're not buying a bottle of champagne. They're buying how people are going to perceive them in that club. And the better a brand has created this lifestyle, which usually takes decades, by the way, the higher the markup they can charge. Now, if that doesn't sit right with you, there are hundreds of incredible brands that sell beautiful bags, high quality, at a fraction of the cost. Now, I'm not trying to tell people what to do, but you really, really do not need to participate in IP theft, risk your money, or to participate in a marketplace that you cannot afford or you don't agree with. There's absolutely nothing wrong with caring about how you're perceived or wanting to look expensive. Like, who are the people that want to walk around looking poor and dusty? Like, obviously not. But the point I'm trying to make is that you do not need to do that using logos. You can look classy, expensive, put together without it. Just saying.
On a totally different subject, did you hear about the celebrity women that went up in space for a few minutes? And a lot of people had a lot to say about it, and Miss Gail was not happy with some of the responses. I kind of found them interesting.
The group of rich women who went into space. Wow, mark that under who gives a shit. These celebrities who are so disconnected from reality, I just find unbelievably annoying. And then I happened to see Katy Perry when she got off this spaceship thing, and she said, I feel so connected to love. And I thought, did you sit down and think, what is the most insufferable thing I can say? You do realize that the vast majority of people just trying to get by. All right, you're floating around in space for 11 minutes. Almost everyone else is just trying to figure out how to pay bills.
Here's okay, Flint up there. Flint, I got you. I got you, Flint. Look at the moon. Whoa, you guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon. What?
You've had 24 hours to process this. You say it's changed you. How so?
I'm not particularly a brave person. I very seldom step out of my comfort zone, and I've done that. So I'm changed by knowing that I can do something that is so frightening to me and come out on the other side.
Did you question yourself?
Well, listen, I had seen my grandchildren, and you do wonder, oh boy, you know, if I can't take the unthinkable. I'd even written a letter.
Just in case?
If the unthinkable happened. And then as I was writing it, I tore it up because I don't even want to put that energy out there. So I never finished it.
You're up there as close as one can get to the heavens.
Yes.
Did this have a spiritual component?
I was thinking that I was blessed, and I was thinking that I was very grateful.
You didn't see God?
No, I did not. I'm very happy to tell you I did not see God on this trip. I'm hoping it'll be a while before I see God, because I believe in God.
But you thanked Jesus when you came to the ground.
Oh, yes.
You kissed the ground.
Repeatedly.
So how is this a spiritual thing?
Well, it's spiritual in that what it takes to get you up in the air and return you with such precision, the team that it takes to put that together, and to know that they're taking you up and getting you down safely is an overwhelming thing to me.
Talk about faith.
Well, it's definitely faith.
There are people who find the room to criticize this.
Yeah, of course.
Rich people doing rich people things.
Every time one of those rockets goes up, they're doing research, they're collecting data. Ideally, it's to benefit the planet that we're on. So when I hear people say, oh, it's just a rich people thing, you're not looking at the bigger picture of what is happening here.
Shit's getting weird. Part infinity.
Because you do something in space doesn't mean you're taking anything away from Earth. And what you're doing in space is trying to make things better here on Earth. Number two, have you been? Have you been?
What do you mean, have we been, Gail? Of course we haven't been to space. We ain't got that kind of money. I'm struggling to buy blueberries. Have you seen the cost of blueberries at the grocery store? I love blueberries, but not for these prices.
Please don't call it a ride. That is not a friggin' ride. Whenever a man goes up, you have never said to an astronaut, boy, what a ride.
Gail, I hate to break the news so publicly. You're not an astronaut. You're not an astronaut. It takes way more than what y'all did to go up to space to be considered an astronaut. Girl, you making it worse. Stop.
A ride implies that it's something frivolous or something that's lighthearted. There was nothing frivolous about what we did.
All right, I don't want to sound like a hater, okay? Because it's inspiring to somebody out there, right? I'm sure of it. But what exactly were y'all expecting from the masses? The rest of us out here struggling to buy avocados and shit. What were you expecting? That when you guys landed, we're all going to line up and be like, to infinity and beyond. Is that what y'all are expecting? Let me break it down for you. This is no different than the millionaires and billionaires that went down to the deep depths of the ocean to see the Titanic. What was the reason? For what? For what? Exactly. Come the fuck on. You gotta, and if you don't understand that, then you a little out of touch. You gotta touch grass, man. Come back down to space, dig them toes in the grass. But you'll be all right, Gail. Just call Oprah.
No, Gail. Have y'all been to space? No, we haven't been to space, Gail King. Have you been to a grocery store lately? Folks are trying to buy eggs. Folks are trying to just get regular, everyday living expenses taken care of. Ain't nobody thinking about no space. Gail King and a group of other women, what they calling themselves, Take 5, Take 6, Take Up Space? Take Up Space 6 went on an 11-minute Blue Origin space ride.
I don't like that people are calling it a ride.
Flight.
We actually duplicated the route that Alan Shepard did.
Whoop-de freaking do. Don't nobody care. Read the room, Gail. Oprah didn't get on that ship. Oprah was like, I will watch you from the ground. And Gail King's response to the backlash from the public saying, girl, what are you doing?
Have y'all been to space?
Have y'all been to space? No, we haven't. Have you seen the price of gas? We recognize that there's a separation between y'all and the rest of us. However, there's no need to rub it in our faces. We don't give a damn if you go to space. You're not a scientist, Gail. You are a personality on television. However, to ask,
have y'all been to space?
Have y'all been to space? Those are fighting words if you say it to the wrong person, Miss Gail King. Watch your mouth. That question wasn't inspiring. It was condescending. I think that it's worth talking about how out of touch these people are if they expect us to be inspired by this stunt. How they open the door from the inside? And then Bezos acted like he was opening it again with a crowbar. Come on now, come on. The entire mission lasted about 11 minutes. Just enough time to cross the, how do you say that word? Kármán.
Named after Hungarian-American engineer and physicist Theodor von Kármán, is commonly recognized as the boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space.
They floated weightlessly for a few seconds.
Right up there.
Just a luxury ride. Let's talk about real astronauts versus space tourists.
I still have a hard time calling myself an astronaut. But
girl, you're not an astronaut. You're not an astronaut. Just because you find something buried in the backyard does not make you a paleontologist. You're going too far with the jokes. This was a corporate-sponsored, influencer-heavy spectacle. They might as well just had Coachella in the sky. And that's fine if you own it. The real issue here, the average American will never go to space. Not because they don't dream big, but because space tourism is a billionaire playground. And when you launch into the upper atmosphere and then come back talking down to people who are still fighting for clean air, clean water, healthcare, and fair wages, that's not bold, that's tone deaf. Let's not confuse ego trips with progress. You don't need to leave Earth to make an impact. The real work, the real leadership happens right here. Keep building, keep dreaming, and don't let anyone talk down to you from 60 miles up. Is that even considered space? Peace, y'all.
Thank you so much for watching, for listening, and I look forward to your comments. Do you think Miss Gail is being tone deaf or not? And what are your thoughts about the whole luxury bag issue in China? Bye!